welcome back to this channel. Today we have another pick a card reading and it's all about where you will be in a year from now. So I'm so excited for this reading. I will also be as honest as possible, of course, as honest as possible. I will be honest, but as positive as possible. That's what I wanted to say. Here we have pile number 1, here we have pile number 2, here we have pile number 3, and here we have pile number 4. Feel welcome to choose one of these 4 beautiful piles. And as a little explanation, if you're new here on this channel, if you genuinely never tried pick up card readings and stuff like that, you basically pick a pile by listening to your gut feeling, your intuition, and if you feel drawn to multiple piles, just so you know, that simply means that there is one pile that has a specific deep message for you and another one where some messages might also resonate with you, but maybe not every message. This is usually when we feel drawn to multiple piles. So just so you're aware of that, and I would say without further ado, let's get started. Hello pile number 1 and welcome to your reading all about where you will be in a year from now. And yeah, I would say without further ado, let's go. Just so you know, I haven't seen the cards, so we will see. What I see right in the beginning, first of all, it depends if you are at that state right now. But for some of you who wanted to become a mother, the Empress talks about pregnancy. But for others, it can mean if you're not, into that right now at all, and you're like, oh, that makes no sense for me. The Empress can also talk about when we have like a specific project in mind and we birth a new idea. So it talks about birthing, right? Birthing a new idea or literally birth. It depends on your life situation, but this is definitely, so to speak, feminine energy. Feminine energy is, like, for me personally, because I believe in that, the connection with your soul, the deeper connection with your gut feelings and intuition. And that just simply means we're diving more into our spiritual side, even on a subconscious level, where we listen more to our gut feelings and to a feminine intuition. Even if you're a man or a different gender, that has nothing to do with the gender. It just simply means we can listen more to our gut feeling, and we are more in our, so to speak, magnetic energy. Although I do still question a lot of the stuff that is talked about online when it comes to feminine energy, but it definitely talks about this, we're diving into an era, or we're definitely, it also talks about a glow up, by the way. Again, no matter your gender, but glow up in the sense of we change our style maybe, or hair in a way, or these types of things. Like, there's definitely a glow up in a year from now. Maybe you are already a mother and you just glow more as a mother, or also father, like, it doesn't matter. We feel like on top. The Empress sort of speaks on sitting on top, which is so beautiful. And again, it can simply talk also about self-care. So not just that we care more for others or family or whatever, or a project, right? But also for ourselves. So we're definitely diving into a time, or in the next year, or in a year from now actually, we are also caring a lot more for ourselves. And that's the reason why we also have to sort of glow up. But I also have to say, the reason why we do that is because we let go of certain thoughts that are holding us back. The devil means that we basically have thoughts that are rather holding us back, keeping us limited or small in a way. And for some, it is, it talks about our thoughts. And for others, it talks about literally toxic, like a toxic environment, a toxic relationship, or like smoking, drinking too much, whatever it is. But we let go of these types of things as well. Or like a job that doesn't suit us anymore, like whatever it is, and it's holding us back. Look how she sits underneath her, because these thoughts are draining her, or maybe even, things from the outside. It doesn't have to be just a thought. It can also be, it doesn't have to be a mind basically, or ego. So it can also be something in the external that we let go of, that makes us feel so much more in alignment with who we are. And like, again, we care so much for ourselves because of that, and we listen more to ourselves. And this is what brings us into harmony with ourselves. The Temperance talks about harmony. It talks also about, for some of you, travel, by the way. That could be significant. Maybe in a year from now, you live somewhere else or you travel somewhere. But it also is connected to higher learning since it's connected to Sagittarius. So this is like higher learning as well. So in a year from now, I see you really having this like almost spiritual epiphany and sort of ego death. And it really talks about a new journey, a completely new journey, especially with the Ace of Pentacles. This really talks about something completely new, like a new job, a new environment. It can also mean, again, traveling, right? So a new place, but this really talks about a new material beginning, which is so beautiful. And it brings us in harmony with ourselves and in alignment. It's really, again, also connected to higher learning in a way, because we maybe have to look at our deeper thoughts, again, that are holding us back or that making us feel like we cannot listen to ourselves or to our dreams, all these types of things. But one thing I will say with the Eight of Wands in reverse is that we also, rather on a subconscious level, feel like a little bit hesitated, because like this is when we're holding a bit back, or at least we have to learn patience, especially with the Temperance. So that means we maybe, let's say you want to travel, it's just an example, or you want to start this new job and you expect that this will happen very fast or things will turn out very fast, but then you have to also learn a little bit of patience. So this it's different for each and all of you, but there's a little bit of a slow energy that comes along here, and where we have to learn patience as well, especially also with the Pentacles, where especially the one Pentacle talks about 1 year from now, which is so funny because we talk about 1 year from now. So what I definitely see in a year from now, you are starting something completely new, externally as well as internally, because you first start this internal new journey, you will also start an external new journey. But again, it will need time. But yeah, it's beautiful. And then we also have the Star, which talks about vulnerability, right? So we're getting a little bit more vulnerable because we're letting go of deeper fears. But it also talks about our subconscious world. We bring our subconscious world into the conscious world, which makes a lot of sense with the Temperance. This is like when we're realizing a lot of things from a subconscious, which makes so much sense here, right, with the Devil. So we no longer let others tell us what to do and what we shouldn't do. We also don't let our own thoughts hold us back, or own fears hold us back. And therefore, we're opening up a completely new journey, and especially we're getting more vulnerable, so to speak. And it also talks about a more hopeful and optimistic time in your future. So in a year from now, you will be super optimistic about your life and you will have a lot of hopes. And it also talks about the power of believing, and it talks about this beautiful new change that is happening in your life. It announces the end of a harder, more difficult time. And with this card, it's connected to the 5, and the 5 represents change. So there's definitely a lot of change that you can definitely expect in a year from now, where you start this new journey. I feel like this already starts earlier, and this whole journey is happening in this year, if you know what I mean, already. But it can also mean that you like start traveling and start this new journey in a year from now specifically. But I feel like this is already sort of developing, I feel like. And you're also going to learn so much. This is really, I feel like this is also very much connected to higher learning as well. So now we go with these cards. This is connected to not just connected, this is actually the third eye chakra. And it talks about your third eye chakra is awakening and is opening you to your intuition, or is connecting you actually with your intuition. I have to translate it since it's German. But it basically talks about your spiritual senses, and that in this year from now, I feel like your third eye chakra is getting stronger because you're listening way more to yourself and way more to your own feelings. And this is really, really powerful. Then we also have the infinity symbol. I think it's an infinity symbol in English. Sorry guys, I had to translate it. So it says, The balance is missing. Center yourself. To do this, draw a figure 8 on a piece of paper or in the air in one loop. Say, I connect, and in the other, I let go. Repeat this small centering exercise for a few minutes. So this is what it says. So it's more like a training. But I have to say, this really makes so much sense with the temperance. So one thing you definitely feel, what you're definitely going to do in the next year from now is connecting you become way more yourself, like who you truly are. You listen less to others, you listen less to your ego, and you find the balance with time. Maybe that feels like something, I don't want to say something new, but maybe you have to get used to that, really listening to your intuition more, to your heart more than what others are saying. Ooh, then we have the full moon. Oh my God, it literally says, make yourself free from negative thoughts and energies. Isn't that fitting or what? Like, are you kidding me? This is really what I see with you doing in this next year. Is you become free from anything that feels negative, whether it's your own thoughts, energies, people, it doesn't matter, but you will break free from those. This is the biggest message that I'm getting. And that is what brings you this like new hope, this like new beginning. Also in a material way, okay? Then we have, oh my God. Guys, I have to translate it again. The waxing moon phase is characterized by energy, a thirst for adventure, new input, and strengthening. After the new moon, you increasingly come into your power and your intuition grows stronger. Is this fitting or what? This phase is perfect for making plans or starting something new. Oh my God, this is so fitting, you guys. You're definitely going to start something completely new. I feel like you also, I feel like there's an adventure energy coming, like an actual adventure that you guys are tapping into, because you listen way more to yourself and because you let go what doesn't suit you anymore. Then we have the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords talks about fast energy, also impulsive energy. Sometimes he's very impulsive, and this is what I already felt like is already happening. This is not something I see starting in a year from now, but actually that starts in a year from now, but actually something that is already starting and already, so to speak, in the process or developing. And I feel like this happens very soon. You know, I don't really feel like that in a year from now all of this is happening. I feel like you currently already feel that this is happening. And in a year from now, you're actually at a different place. Physically, it could be with travel, but at least minimum mentally, especially. Because you're way more connected with your third eye chakra, with your intuition, with yourself. Like, this is the most powerful self-love we can experience because we are connected to our soul, with our soul. Not just with our ego self, really this love, this unconditional love for our soul. Although I do think you have a lot of things going on. It's not just that you're connecting yourself with unconditional love and, you know, feeling all the love for your soul, but you're actually also externally experiencing a lot of stuff because you listen more to your soul, if you know what I mean, to your higher self. And because your higher self wants to experience something completely new and you're ready to dive into that. Oh my God, yeah. And then we have the Tower. The Tower is like, makes so much sense because this is when sudden shifts are happening. Sudden unexpected shifts are happening. It will happen very fast, again, very sudden, where you feel like I have to break out. Maybe you want to move away or like travel at least, or quit a job that doesn't suit you anymore, and or you will get fired and something happens very unexpected, but it leads you to this new beginning. So for example, if you want to become a mother, that it can happen very soon, right? All of a sudden you have to, which is very normal when we're pregnant, right? All of a sudden it's there and we're like, oh my God, you know, things like that, where it happens very, very out of the blue a little bit. And where we have to be ready for that, for this massive new experience, which is so positive. I mean, the Ace of Pentacles is like one of the most positive cards when it comes to new beginnings. So I tell you, in a year from now, you will have a completely different life, I almost feel like. So yeah. Okay. So, oh, we have the dragon. Of course we have the dragon. Break free from the chains. I mean, does it make sense or what? So dynamic powers are helping you to develop from old chains, to make you free from all, or to break free from old chains. Learn to ride the dragon. That's what it basically says. So you're going to experience a completely new life in a year from now, because you're breaking free from these like old thoughts, toxic people, toxic environment. This doesn't have to be toxic all the time. Like, it can also mean just simply that we're breaking free of a relationship and all of a sudden we feel so free, or we're breaking free of a job that doesn't suit us anymore and we feel so free. So it doesn't have to be toxic, just something that isn't really fulfilling you. That's what I mean. And something that comes from a place of control rather than from a place of, I really want to experience that. Then we have dolphins, which talks about happiness basically, and loving life, which makes so much sense. And it says, have fun, play, and try things out. Go with the flow of life. And it also says the energy is flowing right now. So you're definitely going to experience life on a deeper level because you go with the flow more and you love life, because you don't listen to these I would almost say controlling thoughts, right? Because if we listen to our ego, most of the times it doesn't even have to be always negative. It just, you will just feel it in the long run, if you know what I mean. Because it doesn't have to feel bad all the time if we listen to your ego. It's just at one point you don't feel fulfilled of life anymore, and you wonder like why. And this is where a lot of things in the outset with the tower, for example, break apart, things that don't suit us anyway. Because the tower, I know a lot of people are scared of the tower, but the thing is that the tower was never meant to last anyways. It always only breaks down when it's not meant to be anyways in the long run. And this makes so much sense for you, because even if it's a relationship or a job that you feel like you cannot really let go of, but you actually want to, this is exactly what I mean. Like, there is something falling away where you feel like it maybe takes away stability or comfort, but that is not what your soul wants anyways. Your soul is actually here to explore and to experience life to the fullest. And what I mean by that is not just traveling and all of that. I mean feeling feelings. And we don't feel a lot of feelings if it's always the same and stagnant, right? And so when we have to, when our soul is ready to explore something completely new, to feel different types of feelings, stepping out of our comfort zone, getting more confident in certain areas in our life, this is when the tower comes in and hits us, and it feels wrong at first, but it's actually right in the long run. But I feel like for you, you already feel like that's the right decision, because you're breaking free from these chains and you're going to feel so free. Like 1 year from now, guys, you feel like so much. Oh my God, I just noticed you guys don't even fully see the cards. You will feel so free, guys. Okay? I just wanted to point out again one more time that I think for most of you, this really talks about moving. The tower with the temperance talks about moving. So maybe moving to a different city or place. But basically, there's definitely, I feel like, a move coming in a year from now where you really minimum change your apartments, your home, your house. But I think for most, this actually talks about moving away, traveling, changing places in the sense of changing countries. You know what I mean? Like really settling somewhere completely new than just changing or switching apartments. If something happens like, oh, you will be kicked out of your apartment, this just happens so that you do this and so that you step out of your comfort zone. The tower always only breaks apart if our soul is screaming for change and we're too scared to actually do it. And so therefore, things in the outside are happening that first feel uncomfortable for us, because our soul is actually not here for comfort. So that's the reason why the tower is hitting us. And that is what I see for you, but not in a year from now, but actually already sort of starting. So that in a year from now, you're doing that shift, that you experience that change that was so meant for you, that your soul actually wanted to create, where you then see, oh, that's why this had to happen, because your soul wants to feel that feeling in a year from now, or even like, already you feel these like shifts in your life where you feel like, oh my God, why does this have to happen? This is not okay. And then in a year from now, you look back and you're like, oh my God, that's why, I start this complete new journey. That's so cool. And you will feel so free. I will take one of these and then we go with the last one. We have loyalty, the heart chakra energy, and another green, so heart chakra is important. Listening to your heart, and it also says balance and harmony. We have the harmony twice here. So there is more harmony coming into your life in a year from now. You also will listen way more to your heart and again to yourself more than ever. This is like with loyalty, I feel like you will have people in your surrounding, in your environment that are very loyal to you, and you will also be loyal with yourself. And again, there is way more harmony coming in externally as well as internally. I feel like especially internally because you listen way more to yourself. That doesn't mean that, I will be honest, because it does not mean that things are perfect all the time, right? But it means that we listen way more to ourselves, and therefore things will feel so much easier and fun, even though it might not even always be funny, if you know what I mean, funny, positive, so to speak, because we listen to our soul. And so I really feel like there is way more balance internally coming in because you listen to yourself and not to others and not to just, thoughts that are holding you back. You will explore life. And one more time, the waves with the dolphins, it does not always mean it's stagnant and always just positive. The waves are always up and down. That means when the tower hits, for example, and we feel like, oh my God, things are rocky or not that easy, that doesn't mean that, again, it's always easy, but you will feel like it's easy or you will feel free because it's so exciting. It's something so completely new. And I also feel with the dolphins that you will maybe make new friends or connections along the way. Loyal connections, right? True friendships, even, is what I'm hearing. There's a completely new life phase, I feel like, that you dive into in a year from now. So exciting. And we have the 5th house. Saturn. And Scorpio. So there's definitely, I feel like friendship is going to be important in a year from now. You're also going to transform in a very deep way. Scorpio is always deep. And I feel like there is like a lot of internal transformation that you go through in a year from now. With Saturn, I gotta be honest, this is always talking about the harsh truth. So where we maybe get to realize, okay, maybe I expected that this turns out easier than, than what it actually is. But one beautiful thing about the 5th house, this is when we have a lot of fun. Oh no, this is really the house of fun. So you're definitely going to have a lot of fun. You will also balance, we have the balance here a couple of times, balance the feelings of, okay, I have fun, but I also got to be serious, if you know what I mean. And this is like the transformation I feel like you go through. Is like, on one hand, you are still very serious and you take life very seriously, but you also allow yourself to be fully yourself, to have fun no matter your age, and to just really explore life to the fullest, but still being serious. You know what I mean? Still figuring things out, planning things through, all of that stuff. So yeah, that's beautiful. So pile number 1, that was what I see in a year from now. You guys are going to have so much fun, so much freedom. I really see freedom, transformation, deep transformation, higher learning, but also balancing the seriousness of life and the fun of life, if you know what I mean. So this is beautiful. You will listen way more to your gut feelings, to yourself and to your heart, and no longer to your ego and to others, or especially others that try to hold you back. So I hope you guys enjoyed this reading, and I hope you see you in the next one. Bye bye. Hi, my loves, and welcome to your reading all about where you will be in a year from now. So, if you're as curious as me, I would say, let's go. You're currently in a position where you rather worry about your future, because the sun in reverse is when we are clouded, so to speak, when we don't see through everything right now. That can simply mean we wonder a lot about our career right now, or we wonder about our love life right now. This is what I see right now more than in a year from now, actually, where I see in a year from now you will have more clarity. And also, I feel like with the Page of Wands that there are good news coming in, that there's like something new, something inspirational coming in that gives us more clarity and also more joy, because the sun talks about joy. And I feel like right now you have been maybe isolated for a while, because the sun in reverse talks about isolation, and not really, but with the Four of Swords right next to it, where we might have been maybe even sick for a while. I don't this is just really if this already is the case, or you have been at home for a longer time, or you just for some reason felt isolated in a way, or like life has been unfair to you. One thing that is seen a year from now is that you let all of this go and move forward, move on from this phase in your life. In a year from now, this is not relevant for you at all anymore. I think in a year from now, you really will go out way more. We have the Four of Swords in reverse. You will heal. This really talks about healing. So if you went through a breakup, for example, this talks about healing that breakup and getting out of this isolation phase, or whatever that was, because we also have the Four of Summer and the Five of Summer. This really talks about this, like, whether you felt hurt by someone or by life in general, and we have been in a more negative phase. In a year from now, I see you letting that go and just really moving forward, because the Six of Swords talks about travel. This can really actually talk about travel and moving. Actually, the Six of Swords is not just a trip necessarily, but really moving, but it can mean also internally. When we internally let go of this phase, if this is not relevant for you at all right now. And we're going way more out again. We're healing a lot. We're moving on, we're moving forward, and all the things that felt unfair, I feel like there's way more fairness coming in a year from now, and more inspiration. Like the Page of Wands, he explores, and also he's the messenger. So I feel like there are good messages coming in that maybe make you leave this phase, whatever this was, like make you heal whatever this was. Or if you have been sick, because the Four of Swords sometimes talks about that, this talks about actual healing. I mean, I'm not a doctor, okay? These videos are here for fun, but I do want to say it can mean that we're healing a disease or anything, right? And we're getting healthier, because the Four of Swords can indicate that. But again, I don't want to make wrong promises, okay? It's really important for me. And more fairness is coming in that we maybe haven't experienced in a while now. Okay, I just want you to let you know that. And then we get the bitter pill. Okay. Yeah, I really feel like you have been in a phase where you felt like, why was this happening? And Spirit is saying it was happening so that you heal. Because the bitter pill talks about a phase that feels bitter, but actually is a pill. So it does not taste great, but it's healing you. It's helping you. It's here to, so that you rise higher. And whatever that phase was or is, you will heal from that and rise and actually become a way more, I would say, stronger person. And in a year from now, you guys are going to experience it. It depends on where you're at right now, but you will experience the healing process. This is really something I see in a year from now, where you're healing all of that, and where you move on, and where you look back and even smile about this phase, and you're like, oh my God, now I have so much more clarity, or whatever this was, this bitter pill. But you guys are going to let this go in the most peaceful way ever and experience healing on such deep levels. Then we have the affirmation. I allow to live my full soul potential, and I take the, oh God, what's that word? Sorry, you guys. I want to make it as clear as possible, so we will translate it. I allow myself to live out my full soul potential and fully accept the purpose for which I'm here. It is and may be as I wish it to be from the bottom of my heart. So this is the affirmation you can tell yourself, but it's also just for me indicating that you will actually in a year from now follow your soul's mission, if you know what I mean. And look how I automatically put this affirmation in front of this animal. Sorry, I don't know the English word of the animal. English is not my native language, as you probably already have noticed. But he's looking towards this affirmation and leaving the bitter pill behind. So this is the healing process that I almost see, where you let go of this phase, you feel full, you feel life fully again, you radiate more. You know, the sun talks about radiation, it talks about ego death. So there's definitely a certain ego death that you're going to experience. You will follow your soul's potential and only focus on what your soul wants, which is really, really cool and very strong. And then we have Scorpio. Oh my God. Scorpio is a very, very deep. It can talk about massive transformation, especially deep transformation. And I can translate this card as well because I think this could be important. So, Scorpios experience their own feelings and those of others very intensely and enjoy deep conversations regardless of the topic. They want to explore everything and question a lot. On a relationship level, they usually bring fears of loss and have a tendency to become possessive. Scorpions are very respectful and argue more often than other moon signs. They usually deal with their emotions on their own. So there's definitely a deep, deep transformation that I see for you guys in a year from now. Oh, and then we have Taurus. Oh wait, I will read that as well. Taurus or Taurans love stability in life and like to plan far in advance. If your moon sign is Taurus, you tend to be a relatable person, enjoy being around others. Accepting change is often difficult for Taurans, even when a change of direction is needed. If Taurans do get angry, it's best to keep your head down. So, I feel like in a year from now, by the way, Taurus also talks in tarot about more money, and there could be an investment because it's also connected to Venus, right? So this is money, beauty, and love. So that means there could be a glow up that's happening. There is more money that can come in. Finance is definitely something I feel like transformation in finances. And also a deeper understanding, I feel like. There can also be something along the lines of love. Or just like a Scorpio or Taurus person could be important in your life. It can also simply mean that we experience deep transformation in our finances. Yeah, so that's that. And then we also have the Ten of Pentacles in reverse and the King of Swords. So one thing that I feel like in a year from now is that I really feel like something financially shifting, because I feel like right now you maybe struggle a little bit with finances or with investments, because Scorpio can also talk about sharing assets. So if you have a relationship, that can mean we're, maybe moving in together or investing into something together. This can also mean we are maybe investing more into a home. What I find very interesting is that we have the moving card. I feel like for most it talks about letting this time go emotionally and especially mentally, but it can also mean we're really moving away or moving out. So one thing I forgot to mention is that sometimes Spirit wants to warn us about making risky investments. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do any investments, but Spirit is warning us here. It can mean that we are asking someone for money, or people want to take use of or money. Most of the times it's family related since we have the 10 of Pentacles, but it can also mean we, for example, want to take out a loan or something along the lines of that, where we then feel like, okay, we have to now give this back. We have to give that money back. We own someone money. But one specific message that I hear, be careful when it comes to your money and be careful when it comes to investments. But one positive thing that I see with the King of Swords is that we learn more about money and investments. We learn more about how to deal with these types of situations if someone takes use of our money, for example. So the cards are sort of telling me that you maybe own someone money, or vice versa, someone's owning you money. If not now, then maybe in a year from now. And one thing I definitely see is that we learn more about these types of situations, have more clear conversations with the people that we maybe own money, and also deep transformation around money. And with the 10 of Pentacles in reverse, this can also mean that your bitter pill, so to speak, was that you were lacking on long-term stability. That doesn't have to be relevant for all of you, but I think for some this could have been your struggle right now or your bitter pill. And one thing I definitely feel like in a year from now is that you will get more clear in that or learn more about that. Learning more how to handle our finances better, things like that. This is what I see in a year from now. It can be still a little bit chaotic, but I see you being smart enough to handle it because the King of Swords is super smart. Occasionally, it can also mean that we do experience having a lot of money all of a sudden, but we realize that we have to then learn how to do the taxes, for example, or how to deal with people who want to take use of our money. So we always divide things into right and wrong, like a lot of money is right, having less money is wrong, and we think when we have one thing, it's just easy, right? It makes us happy, but our soul is not here for just easiness and peace like most people teach us. Our soul loves obstacles and challenges. And so this can also be a phase where you do all of a sudden experience more money, right? And more external financial stability all of a sudden, and you will notice, wait, it's not that simple. It's not just like, oh, now I'm free. All of a sudden we have to pay more taxes. All of a sudden we have to deal with people who want to take use of our money. So that's what I try to explain. But again, it can also be vice versa. Tarot speaks in layers, especially with general readings, right? So it can be one thing, but it can also be the other thing that I was pointing out. The Sun in reverse also, by the way, is reminding us that our soul fulfillment does not come from what we have, but from the path, from living life, from experiencing life, from feeling feelings and allowing these feelings to happen. And in a year from now, I do see you realizing that. We suddenly start to shift our mindset and you will focus more on things you have rather than focusing on things you don't have. You will be more grateful for life. And also the Five of Cups talks about new beginnings, because you internally shift your mindset a lot. I also forgot to add, which is very important actually, that with Scorpio and the Five of Cups and the Sun in reverse, sometimes that means we have to go through a phase where things may fall apart that help us to actually achieve what we actually desire or what our higher self actually desires. So when we are too focused on how we expect it, so how our ego does expect things, that they turn out, right? Usually life or higher self actually helps us to break through these illusions in order to create better outcomes for us. Therefore, some things have to fall apart and fall away in our life. So when stable things like a home that we used to know, a place that we used to know, or an apartment that we were living in for years, right? And it's falling away for some reason, this simply means we're ready for something new. And that's why we also got the bitter pill. It feels bitter at first, but the pill is healing. Think about a bitter pill. It's disgusting when we swallow it, but an hour later, our headache is gone, right? So it may need time. It does not feel right in the beginning, but it actually is, and it actually is healing. And a year from now, I see you going through this deep healing process that change brings, right? So change in the beginning does not always feel comfortable because for ego it always is negative. Meanwhile, for soul, it's actually our soul loves it, because through change there's a lot of experience, and our soul is here for experiencing feelings. So therefore your soul will always make sure that things are changing, especially if it was never meant to last anyways, right? I see you in a year from now having this steep change and transformation, and on top of that, the emotional strength to deal with it. The King of Swords can also occasionally talk about signing contracts, and especially with the Page of Wands, which again is the messenger, it really symbolics for me that there could be a potential opportunity coming up to get you into a position to create more money, because there might be a shift around money. It can really also talk about an opportunity to sign a new contract or to sign documents around money, like again taking out a loan or something like that. This talks about your finances and your home. So I feel like in a year from now, you're definitely going to change that in a way, especially your finances. And one thing I definitely see with the King of Swords is your clarity. We had the clarity going on already. So I think there's way more clarity coming in a year from now. So whatever you currently feel unclear and unsure about, there's more clarity coming in. The King of Swords can talk about an air sign that could be significant. This can also be a father figure, of course, or like a mentor or someone who's significant that I see coming into your life in a year from now, that will maybe taught you or teach you, things about finances and how to balance those. And I also feel like there is, what you dive in is like way better communication. I think you're a communicator, you're very talented in that, and you dive into your King of Sword energy, which is so good because he's so smart and knows how to share this knowledge and communicates like amazing. And he's also funny and has a lot of authority, so he gets a lot of authority. So I definitely see you tapping into your leadership if that was important to you, even in your career if that's relevant for you. But there's definitely more clarity, better conversations, no matter if you have a relationship and you talk with your partner more open and honestly, or just with others in general. I feel like there's definitely better conversations and clear conversations that you will have. And I don't know why, but I keep seeing that there is a mentor or a specific person coming into your life. I really feel like that can talk about maybe someone romantic coming in, but we will dive into that a little bit later. I don't see that necessarily though, but I feel like there's a specific important person that could be relevant for you in a year from now, like a mentor, a father figure, or really someone romantic. Will be in a year from now. We have protection. Okay. So your spirit guides also want to let you know that you will be protected. You are very protected. Then we have perception, and basically, yeah, perception. I think it's the right word. And then, oh gosh, I don't know the English word of that. I will translate it. I'm so sorry, guys. Normally my English is better, I swear. Readiness, perception, and protection. You have such a more clear understanding of life and for your own life, I really feel like. So you're super intelligent and you let others know that. You also maybe change the perception of others or other people's POV, if you know what I mean, other people's perceptions. Like, I think you're very, very smart and it's time to let that shine, is what I'm hearing. Maybe that's your soul's calling, because we had the soul's calling in this reading. You can let go of your fears if you had fears of, for example, being seen or being who you truly are, because the Sun in reverse can talk about that. And I think in a year from now, you're sort of ready to let this go. So you're ready to let any sort of fears go that are holding you back, to let your soul's purpose shine, or to follow your soul's purpose, if you know what I mean, if that is relevant for you. Yeah, because we have like very deep transformation going on here. So you're very, very smart and wise is what I'm hearing. And we also have the 8 here. I think this is the 8. Is this a 5? Yeah. So there is the eights are representing infinite potential, so you're definitely tapping more into your soul's potential. I also wanted to say the readiness for me screams that you are basically helping others in a way in a year from now to rather change their perspective. I really feel like you have to tap into your authority, into your leadership position, but if you're still in school, it can mean that you're helping others learn for the school grades. You help others in school, but I feel like in some way your soul's purpose, at least in a year from now, is to help others in a way. God, we have another 8 in here. So there is definitely infinite potential. You're tapping into your infinite potential, my love, because you let go of fears, maybe the fear of being seen or the fear of being who you are and radiating and showing your knowledge, speaking about your knowledge, maybe online, because the King of Swords talks about online, right? And we let go of any worries about finances, because we upgrade our finances or we make up our mind about finances, means we're caring more about our finances, right? And we swallow the pill. We're in the healing process, and a year from now you're healed. There is no longer anything that's holding you back or, like keeping you in a cocoon, I would almost say. So that's so positive. Oh, okay. Oh, no way, we got the Phoenix, you guys. The Phoenix is super powerful because the fire here that you see in the card is representing your pain right now, or this like bitter pill. This is you rising higher than ever in a year from now and transforming into the Phoenix. And I mentioned the cocoon, which wasn't even on purpose, because Scorpio, you have to know, Scorpio represents this like butterfly cocoon to the butterfly effect is what I always call it. When we break out of a cocoon, especially if you had a fear around radiating and being who you are and showing that, shining your light, this is no more being scared of that and becoming the Phoenix, rising from every pain. So whatever pain you had to go through, even if it's like a heartbreak or a physical pain or whatever it was, there is the healing of that and rising. This is really the card that says, right, oh my god, and then we have the authority card. And the King of Swords already gave me the authority vibes. So I really feel like you tap way more into your leadership role, whatever that means for you. Even if you're already settled in your career, that can mean a raise or a new position in your job. But the Leo talks about authority. So there's definitely a lot of authority. The Leo can also occasionally talk about, like the sun, spotlight and radiance. So if you wanted spotlight in a way, you tap more into that. You tap more into being seen, only if that's relevant again. If this is not relevant, this talks about more authority, as well as being uniquely who you are. I think you have very strong beliefs, or just generally you're very strong in your opinions, and people need to hear that. I really feel like you could be a public speaker, but basically your opinion is asked. And it also talks about your sun power, which is the solar plexus chakra, and you're the one who needs to speak up about, I really feel like, whether about your feelings or about generally what you believe in, because I think you have very strong beliefs and you're very strong in your opinions. And we also have the charismatic energy. So I think you're a natural leader because you're also very charismatic and people feel drawn to you. Because you can always overcome obstacles, and the best leaders are those who did not have an easy life. And I think you're someone like that. I think you're someone who had a more chaotic life, I would almost say, and you're ready to shine who you are. And I think in a year from now, that's where you will be. You will have or receive more authority. You will have financial change. There's also more confidence. I see you becoming truly who you are and shining that because you love yourself deeply. This is so powerful. So I also feel like because of your strong opinions, you can really change the perception of others. I think you're so smart and intelligent, and funny even. I think you also have a funny nature that you can really bring out the best in others. Whether if this is what your soul's purpose is or just generally like a gift that you naturally have, that doesn't mean that this is your job, but I think you are very good in that, whether you've noticed that or not. Pile number 2, I think you're very, very good in like changing other people's opinions and helping them because of that. Not in a negative way, not in a manipulative way. Of course we get the sun with Leo. Of course. You are a very creative person, I feel like. I think you're creative. And then we have Mars. The first house, of course. And Sagittarius. I definitely see expansion and growth, especially also internally. I see a lot of internal growth where you will radiate and really learn a lot about yourself. Like the amount of confidence that I feel like that I get through this reading again and again is crazy. Like I really feel like you will expand in your confidence. You will get to know yourself on a deeper level with the first house and really become way more of an authority person. The first house is like an authority, it's like where we tap more into our real personality and not the personality we became through the experiences that we had to go through, that trained personality, if you know what I mean, that came through other people's opinions, right? Because we're not really shining who we truly are. And for you, in a year from now, I see you completely shifting that, 180 shift to become who you truly are. Sagittarius is also the teacher. So you could be a teacher in a year from now, or teaching others or leading others in a way, and inspire others to change their perspective. I really see you doing that because you're a very wise person. You also heal a lot of old wounds, old stuff. And Mars is energy, courage, spontaneity, right? We have a lot of spontaneity. There is also like travel. I see travel with the Six of Swords and the Sagittarius card here. Things like that. So travel can also be important, but I see this also more as an internal journey as well. And then also with Mars, again, there's like way more energy. If you had a lack of energy, there's so much energy coming in a year from now, and spontaneity. And again, we have Aries twice here with the first house in Mars, so there's way more energy coming in. Mars and Aries is always talking about this like motivation, also with the Page of Wands that we have going on, right? So there's motivation, inspiration, and also maybe good news are coming in that make us very happy, that is motivating us to become who we truly are. And again, that could be a person that is motivating us, or you know, like news, a message, or something along the lines of that. So that was it, pile number 2. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye bye. Hello, pile number 3, and welcome to your reading all about where you will be in a year from now. So if you're as curious as me, I would say let's go. So we have the King of Summer in reverse, then we have the King of Swords upright and the King of Swords in reverse. We have the Ten of Cups in reverse, the Ace of Cups in reverse, the Eight of Cups, that's the Knight of Swords in reverse, and the Lovers in reverse, and the Death upright. So don't panic, guys. Just because there are so many reverse cards does not mean that this message is automatically negative or anything. This is not the case, but we will dive into it because it's going to be interesting. So the King of Swords talks about clarity and your intelligence. You also could be a funny person, but you're definitely very smart. So what I see in a year from now, anything that currently feels like sort of draining you, I think you have been in a more draining phase I do believe when it comes to your love life specifically, I have that feeling that something along the lines around that, like in your love life, wasn't that great lately. Maybe you just recently have broken up with someone, or vice versa, someone has broken up with you, or there was like an on-off thing or whatever. But there is some sort of like something along the lines of your love life was not super duper, like so great. I mean, it doesn't have to be your love life, because the lovers in reverse can also talk about when we struggle listening to our heart in general when it comes to following our intuition. And I really feel like you're currently in a state where you feel like things are not fulfilling you emotionally. It does not have to be a love life, but I think for some or most even of you, it's the case. And one thing I definitely feel like is your communication skills are definitely up leveling within the next year. There's also more clarity coming in the next year, especially when it comes to your love life. I feel like more clarity in your love life, and definitely more confidence, outgoing. The King of Wands is very extroverted, outgoing, very attractive to people. He's also like very like, he could be famous, by the way, if that is interesting for you. But in general, the King of Wands is very extroverted and outgoing. So he's not a shy person at all. And he has also integrated his shadow sides. So this is someone who knows that certain situations are happening in our life that we cannot control, but we can make the best out of it and then moving forward. The King of Wands is very driven, but not in a depressive way, like out of depression and like I need to get somewhere or whatever. No. He's genuinely confident. The lions also represent ego, by the way. So anything where you felt like your ego was still like draining you, right? When we feel like, oh, okay, like I have to date this person in order to be happy, or I have to be with this person because this is my soulmate or whatever, like even spiritual ego that says this has to be my soulmate or whatever it is, you will learn to actually get more clarity in these things, learn about these things, using your, like connecting more with your higher self and your intuition, I almost feel like, or at least being more, again, clear in your mind. And generally, I feel like you will be such a like smart person in a year from now. I think you're already smart, don't get me wrong. I think you're very smart, in fact, already. I think you will read or learn more about, love or toxic relationships or things like that, maybe even online. Because I feel like love is very, I don't know why, but I'm getting like this is very significant for you in a way. Like whether your love life right now or in a year from now, you will just like learn a lot about love, or read a lot about love, or doing even something online, because the swords always represents online. One thing I definitely feel like you will sort of tap into in a year from now is your capability and ability to be a leader, to be respected. One thing I forgot to mention, the Ace of Cups in reverse can signify that we can maybe not really move on from a person, especially with the Lovers in reverse. Like that the cards are telling us we really truly need to move on from maybe our ex or a person that's not healthy for us, and maybe that was draining you, like a person where you clearly should move on. This is only when it's relevant for you. Of course, this is a general reading, keep this in mind. But one thing the cards are telling me here, in a year from now, you will get more clarity about that situation, and on top of that, a lot more confidence, because the reason why the Ace of Cups is in reverse is maybe that there is maybe a lack of self-love going on, and that we need to internalize more self-worth before we externally manifest love. Because when we internally increase more love for ourselves, this is when we most of the times externally manifest love. And the King of Wands is actually showing me that there is way more self-love and especially confidence coming in a year from now for you guys, where you will learn more about how to become more confident. Maybe you read about that. Maybe it naturally happens through the experience, but there is definitely more self-love and especially confidence that you guys will have in a year from now because of all the things that you went through in your love life. If you had issues of like, I don't get a lot of respect, or I don't know how to communicate things clearly or my boundaries clearly, or maybe you even struggle with people pleasing or stuff like that. This is just an example. One thing I definitely feel like there's way more confidence coming in a year from now, way better communication skills, and also you will expand your mind in a way in a year from now. And that's why we also, I think, have the death card, because the death card represents like this cocoon, I always say, from the cocoon to the butterfly effect, where we have to maybe leave things behind, or just does sometimes feel uncomfortable going through the cocoon phase, so to speak, to develop into the butterfly, but it was necessary in order to expand your knowledge. So if you currently go through, for example, this is just really an example, let's say you go through a breakup and it's very draining, right? It's not feeling good, obviously, or ego is hurt, and you are like the King of Wands saying, I take this as an opportunity and I will make the best out of it, which, by the way, makes you very attractive to people. King of Wands, he's very attractive, right? But you also learn how to deal with your ego in such a smart way that you maybe even lead others in the future. This was just an example. If this does not talk about your love life, then obviously this is a different topic where you maybe have to reflect on listening to your heart, learning more about this, reading about this, and even teaching it others. Because like the one definitely, the big transformation I definitely see right now for you in a year from now is your capability to communicate anything you know and to expand your knowledge. I think in a year from now you will be so smart in A, listening to your heart, and B, I truly feel like things around your love life. Maybe you want to be a love coach, or you are just interested in like what people find attractive, for example, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be that topic one more time. I just feel like, because we have the Lovers in reverse and like the 10 of Cups in reverse and the Ace of Cups in reverse, so I feel like that's what I mean, because these cards, especially the Ace of Cups and the Lovers, typically represent the topic of love. But if it's not about love, one thing I, by the way, want to say, you could also like maybe trying to attain rather a big clientele or like a spotlight in a way, because the King of Wands typically represents spotlight, so maybe that's relevant for you. And maybe you just want to simply go out with your knowledge. It can also mean occasionally that we write a book about it or whatever. So it doesn't have to be the big spotlight in the sense of I need millions of views. No, but generally like you will go out with your knowledge. This is what I try to explain. And I think it came from this pain, from this draining season, I call it, from whatever this was. I think it has to deal with your love life one more time. But again, it can also be something else, because we do have the King of Summer in reverse. So by the way, when we have the King of Summer in reverse, one thing I see in a year from now, what you will basically learn or rebuild and practically maybe even teach others, for some of you, is dealing with your emotional world, especially if your emotions have been hurt. Because when the King of Summer is in reverse, he had to go through emotional chaotic moments in order to become the King of Summer. Because one thing I will say, the King of Summer, so the King of Cups, is very, very, very emotionally intelligent. But when it's reversed, we sometimes struggle with the feeling if we can deal with emotions. So for example, if we have been hurt in the past, especially in relationships, for example, we are scared to enter maybe a new relationship. This is just really an example, because we've been hurt in the past and we're not really sure if we can deal with this emotional chaos that would come along with another breakup, as an example, one more time. So when it's reversed, it just means we are very, very sensitive, which is a power, and we could use it as a power and become very emotional intelligent with that power, right? Because of that power, I mean. But when it's reversed, we still struggle a little bit with that. And one thing I see you doing in a year from now is learning to become more emotional stable, whether you want this or not, whether this is on purpose or not, but you're so good in taking, so to speak, difficult events in our life and to make the best out of it. That's why we have the Death here, right? The Death talks about transformation. It talks about transforming into the butterfly because we first had to go into the cocoon. So whatever this was, I again think for most this talks about your love life, but it can mean something that emotionally really was draining you in a way. It can be your job, it can be anything, it can be a person, like a friend or whatever. I also feel like for some of you, this could talk about an avoidant or a person who was ghosting you with the King of Winter here in reverse, because we have one King of Winter, so basically one King of Swords upright and then one King of Winter in reverse. So that can mean one of you was communicating clearly and another person was sort of ghosting you or not communicating well with you, and it was emotionally draining you. That is just for some of you, okay? There's a general reading, please keep this in mind. But one thing I definitely see is that in 1 year from now, you will not just overcome this. I mean, maybe you sometimes still think about it. That can definitely be the case, but you will overcome pain and become stronger than before. And also, one thing I want to mention is that you also have options. If you wondered about your love life and dating and stuff, you have options with the Seven of Cups. And definitely one thing I feel like for you that you will learn in a year from now, because the Seven of Cups talks about us being sometimes a little bit delusional, delusional. I feel like this is exactly what you will learn in a year from now, to not just trusting, okay, I don't know how to explain this, but you will learn to trust your emotions more, but not just blindly trusting people who are making you, for example, wrong promises. This is typically Seven of Cups. Like, it's when we have a very strong fantasy to the point, which is great, especially if you're a creative person, but to the point where it could develop sometimes in an unhealthy pattern, where we maybe think very fast, like, oh, that's the one, for example. I was like that when I was very, very young, that I was like looking at a person, I think I thought I had a crush, and then I was like, and I made this whole story out of that person. I definitely was someone like that because I'm also very creative. So I feel like this happens to a lot of very sensitive, spiritual, creative people, where we want to have a love story in our head, but we forget the realistic aspects of it. And this is the Seven of Cups. So one thing I feel like you learn in a year from now is exactly, again, King of Swords. Exactly that. The King of Swords, he's not someone who lets others, who basically knows his worth. He's, okay, you have two kings here, yeah? So you're very, very, very confident. And by the way, just because we have so many kings does not mean you're masculine, okay? It can mean, maybe you are a man, but I just wanted to point that out if you wondered. But the kings are kings and queens are very, very confident. And you're a very confident person. You're very smart, but you're also maybe rather very creative or sensitive. And that's the reason why you maybe trust people very easily, which is not bad. I don't say don't do that. But I think for you, the balance is very important, because you may be very, very sweet. And for you, it's important to find a balance and to not just like, blindly rather trusting people, or again, immediately making a romance story in our head, or whatever that is for you. Again, this can be different for all of you, but you will become more clear. And I don't want to say less naive, but I just say it that way right now so that you know what I mean, okay? Again, we have to be a little bit more clear, or a little bit more logic is what I call it. And I think for you, that is definitely something you tap into in a year from now, especially what this draining thing was. There's more clarity around that. And I also feel like, one more time, more learning, but especially your confidence is very, very strong in a year from now. I can guarantee you, pile number 3, your confidence in a year from now is like, whoa. You know what I mean? So I definitely feel like there's a massive transformation around never letting others taking use of your kindness again. I feel like that is your strength. And by the way, if you developed avoidant attachments in your past, I think you say it that way, or detachment, around dating, for example, maybe you have been a little bit avoidant around dating. This can also be the case. And maybe this was draining you, like, because you were dating, but then you were scared that your feelings get hurt. There's more clarity around your emotional world. You could even potentially go to therapy or talking with someone who's inspiring you to change your mindset. There is a shift in your mindset when it comes to emotional world and your emotions. This is very, very strong. And again, whatever currently is draining you or what will drain you like in this year, you will overcome it better than I feel like a lot of people, and you will make the best out of it, and you will come out way stronger and more confident from this. And in a year from now, you will see that this was really just happening so that you had your, I would almost say, awakening, if you know what I mean, and to become more confident and clear. Because one more time, the King of Swords, he's very much aware of who he is. He's very confident. He has his boundaries, and he's also very respectable. People have a lot of respect because he is an authority person. So this is definitely the biggest transformation I see. And that's why you're also no longer just a prince of winter, where you develop from the prince to the king, which for me says that you will really learn a lot about yourself in the next year and about your mind, or like how we again communicate things, or how we choose people that are coming into our life. And yeah, that's definitely that's a big transformation, a deep transformation especially. One thing I also feel like, if you had problems with impatience, there is more patience coming in a year from now. You will learn patience. Okay, we also got these two cards, which is the new moon, meditation and reflection. And then we also have Cancer. So Cancer typically talks about like home, and also sometimes when we're, so to speak, like when you're hiding a bit. And for you, it's definitely, this year will be a time of reflection. And this can also be learning about how to show feelings more openly, because Cancer, talks about, because I really think you're a very sensitive person, which is so, so beautiful. But for you, I think it's very important to be also more clear, or like a little bit more in your head than just in your imagination, which again, this is a power of yours. I don't want to talk it down. This is really important for me that you guys know that. You're so capable to listen to your emotions. You are someone who's very reflective. That's why you can always overcome obstacles, I feel like, pile number 3, because you're so capable of listening to your higher self. I really want you to know that you have a superpower, and that this is not a flaw or anything. This is really a superpower of yours. And the King of Winter just reminds us to be, and this is where I see you in a year from now actually, to be more clear in our head. It means meditation would be important for you, I think. Maybe you like meditating in a year from now, or you already do it and you will do it more often, or you join a meditation class or whatever. Like, there is definitely a lot of reflecting and meditation in a year from now, which leads you to this beautiful development that we have going on here, where you will tap into your radiance and confidence. So one more time about Cancer, this is the sign for family. And again, when we take care of others a lot, this is the carer card, right? So by the way, I think for you, it's a little bit time to step out of people pleasing. I think in a year from now, you will not be a people pleaser at all. I think you will care less for others. Okay, not because you're egoistic or anything, no, but because you tap into your I'm not a people pleaser energy. That does not mean we do not care at all. That's not what I'm saying. I think you actually do care a lot, but not so much so that it's draining you. And I think you have been maybe in a state where you were giving so much to others, or even trying to pursue others or chase others to the point where it was draining you and making you unhappy. And now you tap into your confidence, in the sense of, I first of all take care of myself, because we cannot give others if we cannot love ourselves first. And it's like taking from an empty cup. I think in a year from now, you're at a completely different place when it comes to your emotional world and your caring world. If caring world is not a word, but you know what I mean. So that is super, super powerful. Oh, I forgot these. No way. realization is what it says, self-realization. I will translate it as my new thing before I start saying like something weird, and then I always have to cut it when doing the video, when cutting the video. Look at yourself, acknowledge your uniqueness. What would I do differently if I were no longer afraid of being different? The peacock supports you in finding the courage to become visible, to let your light shine, and to stand by your uniqueness. Oh my God, and we have the visibility here with the King of Wands and the peacock. Yeah, of course. Like, okay, one thing I definitely see in a year from now, one more time, confidence, a glow up, like a physical glow up, maybe something along the lines of your hair is what I'm hearing, and your style. Maybe you will wear more colors. Oh my God, the confidence that is coming through is crazy. And for some, if you wanted to become again, like, I don't want to say famous, but for some of you maybe want to go like very, like maybe you have high goals, but there is like you at least will become visible in a way. Whether if this is just in dating and you have more options in dating, or this actually talks about visibility in the sense of I want to go out and shine my light. Maybe you have the dream of attracting people like followers, or you know what I mean. So that can definitely be the case in a year from now. And then we also have, appreciation. Appreciation. Give yourself the recognition you seek from others. Oh my God, what did I say about people pleasing? Maybe it wasn't people pleasing, but actually you were seeking like attention, or not attention, sorry, appreciation from others. Like maybe you wanted to get appreciated by others so that you felt like a sense of self-worth, but the learning is to first find it yourself in order to get it from others, if you know what I mean, like self-love first, you know. I really feel like there is a journey around that, if you know what I mean. So give yourself the recognition you seek from others. What do I acknowledge in myself today? I love myself as I am. I'm unique, I recognize my strength, and I live it now. I mean, how fitting are those two cards together? I really feel like you wanted to have some recognition, like fame or whatever. Maybe you are even a Leo. The pile obviously also resonate with you if you are not a Leo. One thing I also wanted to mention, maybe you wanted to have recognition or attention from one specific person that you thought you were in love with, or that was very important to you, or that you were dating, like connected to your love life, where you felt like you needed appreciation from that specific person in order to feel worthy. But in a year from now, this will actually shift, and you will feel this confidence from within, and you therefore no longer need this attention or this, you know, specific person to like you. And I think for you, it is first a journey to not seeking it from the outside, but actually feeling it first in the inside, if you know what I mean, and loving yourself regardless of what others think, and finding your strength within yourself first. And that's the moment where, bam, you will attract this, you know, like whether clientele or whatever you wanted to attain, because you start to feel this confidence. Maybe you wanted to become a leader in a way, but you first have to feel like a leader so that you can actually lead others. So that's what I mean. So that's where you will tap into, I feel like, in a year from now. And this like leadership feeling, like, because you're stepping away from, I don't want to say people pleasing. Let's say you're very scared to get, like, to tap into spotlight, for example, because of hate. The point is, as soon as we overcome this feeling of like, what if, and like, what if I will get judged, blah, 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 we actually feel like we can give something, you know, because we have the strength, we feel the strength from inside of us, before we feel the need to get it from the outside, the appreciation. This is where we will get magnetic for others. This is what I mean when I say people pleasing. It just doesn't mean you constantly pleasing others. It just means we maybe are very sensitive when it comes to rejection or critic, you know. And this is really, I think, in a year from now, that you completely let go of, and also develop into such a confident person, where because you don't need it anymore, all of a sudden people will see it. Like people will ask you for advice, want to know from you, and see you as the leader that you are. Oh, this is, okay, I don't know the English word of that. Hospitality. I never had this card before. I think you're just generally a very friendly person. On number 3. And I think maybe that's a little bit of your problem. You care a lot for others. You maybe do a lot for others even. Or again, you're very sensitive when it comes to rejection or critic. Determination and loyalty. If you have something in your mind, you don't give up. You're like very strong in that. You say, I want to do this, so I go for it. In a year from now, you will see the rewards of this personality, of this character. But you know what I mean, because of your talent to be so determined. Again, I see you being super, super determined. No matter if this talks about your love life again, and feeling like I want to become the best, so to speak, version of myself. I'm not a big fan of that because I truly believe our soul is always the best version of ourselves or higher self. And our higher self just wants to experience different phases. And nothing of this is wrong. So I don't believe in best or better version. I believe our soul is always the best version. That's why I don't like it that much, because it's usually very ego focused, like in the sense of, oh, if I have a better, I don't know, education or a better career or a better whatever, like I meditate every day, whatever, then I'm the better version of myself. This is, for me, it's very, I'm sorry to say it, for me it's very superficial. I know it's not always like that, and I know we can become a better version, especially when we are more reflective and when we learn a lot. But I just simply want to say, don't focus too much on that word, and you can love yourself at any point in time. So basically, I think for you though, you will develop into someone who is the next step, I would almost say. The next experience that you so wanted to experience, if you know what I mean. And you're very determined in that phase, and because of your determination, you will tap into your leadership position, right? Because you never gave up. And I really feel like your friendliness will still be very, very powerful. And that's the reason why people, when you look at this card, will feel so attracted to you. Look at this card here where these birds are naturally feeling drawn to the tree, right? I don't know if you see it, but here the birds, they're looking at this beautiful tree here and being like, I want to be with you, I want to look at you, right? So you will be in a phase where people also, by the way, if you wanted to date, and we talk about your love life again, will feel so attracted to you, enamored by you. They want to be with you, they want to look at you, they want to know from you, they want to have knowledge from you, right? Because you will shine and you will, tap into your radiance. And that is what I mean with the experience that you soul in a year from now want to experience. This is the phase that your soul want to experience in a year from now. And there is no right and wrong about this, but this is generally a phase that you absolutely deserve, because you had a phase, I feel like, that was, so to speak, rainy and draining you a bit. No matter if this was just about your love life, maybe you also just simply have been single for a while. This can also mean that. And now we're in a phase where a lot of people are attracted to us and we date more, and we go out more, because you tap into your radiant energy, I think you say. And then also we have loyalty, which talks about, obviously, loyalty. If you do attract a new partner, by the way, I want to say this person will be very loyal. Or if you're currently in a relationship, that means you have a very loyal partner and a very beautiful relationship. It depends on your situation, of course. I think for most, you rather are single or just recently have been out of a relationship. But take it as it resonates. Okay, this is a general reading, but there's definitely loyalty coming into your life in a year from now, and you will experience loyalty, and you will also be loyal to yourself. This is the heart chakra green, so I truly feel like there is more loyalty that you experience for yourself and for your own uniqueness that we had going on here, right? You will shine your uniqueness because you're loyal to who you are, and that is very powerful, because especially when we want to go out with our skills, this needs a certain sense of loyalty because, or especially loyalty to a project as well, because if we constantly are scared to, for example, look like a fool or not being, good enough, we will never break through that. I think this loyalty is actually confidence. If you're really loyal to yourself and to your projects, no matter if this is sometimes not perfect, that is real confidence. And this is like loyalty to our heart, to our soul, and to our projects. And by the way, again, if we talk about your love life one more time, I strongly feel like you will up level your standards because you will be more loyal to what you deserve, basically. King of Swords, right? So that is so powerful. I think I will take these. Sorry, I think I just... Okay. Oh, orientation. New pathways are opening. Focus on yourself. This, I don't know the English word of this animal right now. A bat. They also talk about hiding a bit because they're usually always in, like in a cave and they're hiding, and it's time to, shine and to tap into your leadership role and to find new orientation as well in your love life, I feel like, as well as in your career. I think both matters to you, I feel like, both aspects of your life. And then we have the horses, which talk about freedom and movement. I feel like this draining season, it can also mean occasionally that this time that felt like draining to you was not just about your love life, but also about other areas of your life where for some reason you maybe did not feel very free. This can be just for some of you, but with the horses, this talks about freedom and more movement. This movement can be energetically as well as physically. I think it talks about both, especially when it comes to orientation. There is more movement in your life coming in, and especially more movement in the sense of where do I belong? What should I do? Also about your love life one more time, or listening to our heart more, right? Loving our life in general more. Also self-love, there's strong self-love coming through, but definitely finding out where we belong. And also learning a lot about this. I feel like, one more time, pile number 3, you're very smart and you learn so much. I also feel like by going through things, your soul maybe wanted to experience crazier rides. I feel like in order to later teach it others or to even lead others, especially with this horse imagery here, I definitely feel like leader vibes again, and moving others into the right direction almost. Oh my God, Delicious, your inner teacher. Move and be open for the freedom in every aspect of your life. Oh my God, is that fitting or what? So I don't know if I translated it 100% correct, but basically it talks about freedom and freedom in all areas of our life, which is crazy. And I will also have the inner leader is showing up. The inner, teacher or leader, as you will. But it's definitely a time where you tap into more leadership and where you maybe will become a teacher as well as a student, because the best teachers are the ones who are always stay a student. So I think you will also learn something new, and through your experience, you will grow out of that. You will grow out of your draining season. I call it that way. I hope you know what it means. I hope it resonates, of course. But you will not just learn from it, but also teach it others, like I just already said. And again, there's more movement in your life in general coming in a year from now. And maybe you have been in an isolation phase, because this bat here reminds me of isolation right now, where she was sleeping, hanging, where not a lot of movement was going on. And here we have the polar opposite. So if you have been in a phase where things have felt stagnant, whether in your love life or in your life in general, there is definitely more movement. Oh my God. I even feel like in multiple eras of your life, all of a sudden, like maybe your love life is changing, or maybe your career is changing, while you felt so stuck. This almost gives me hangman vibes. And all of a sudden, like, things are just flowing and moving in a year from now. And you will be like, oh my God, if you would have told me that this is where we'll end up in a year from now, I would have never believed it, because so many things are changing. And that's why we have the death card here, right? Change. You will turn into the butterfly, and the butterfly is seen, right? The butterfly is like, has already been through the cocoon phase, and this really gives me cocoon phase, by the way. So is that fitting or what? In a year from now, you're the freaking butterfly. Saturn, I will take one more. Oh, no. Okay. But I will take it. We have the sun. Oh my God. These are a little bit too many, I feel like, but okay. Do you see the cards? Okay. Mars and Uranus and... Oh. Taurus. So we have the second house and then Taurus. So this is the house of Taurus, and then we have Taurus. Taurus definitely talks about money change. Holy freak. There is more, I almost would say, seriousness when it comes to money. So there's definitely a change around your finances. And I don't want to say more seriousness, but in the sense of we take more care of our finances. So there will be a shift in your finances. You also you will follow your soul's purpose. The sun talks about your soul and your radiance. Again, also confidence. So there's, for one, more confidence coming in a year from now. What I said about the illusion, right, with the Seven of Cups, when I say you have a lot of fantasy, you have a lot of ideas, maybe you almost have so many ideas that sometimes it's draining you because you feel like, oh my God, I don't know what I should do first. And you know what I mean? Saturn gives us the power to make our dreams, first of all, a reality. And so maybe you had a lot of dreams and now you're actually diving into a phase where you make those real in a year from now. Because this is where you will dive into your confidence and radiance, and that's the reason why it will be more balanced and you will not just fantasize about things, if you know what I mean. I'm not saying that you only fantasize and never did anything in the physical realm, if you know what I mean. But I just want to say you will have a better balance when it comes to, this is my idea and now I'm making it a reality because this is my plan. So you maybe plan it differently, or you have a certain motivation to stay determined, right? I think you already have all these qualities. Don't get me wrong. I think you're very, 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 very smart and super good in, again, listening to your intuition and all of that, which again, Uranus is confirming. I think you will have way more energy physically, as well as, I would almost say, I don't want to say mentally, that's wrong, but physically and energetically. There is more energetically coming, because the perfect balance between intuition and logic is what I call it now. I would say soul and ego, but you know what I mean. So this is when you have sudden ideas, free thinking. There's a lot of freedom coming in. New thinking. I think you're someone who has to bring out something new into the world or do something completely new. Or at least you have very unique ideas. I think you're very unique, pile number 3. And you have to shine that. You have to shine your uniqueness. And I think this is your journey in a year from now, or like I always feel, I feel like you're currently on that journey. In a year from now, you will look back and see all these things clearly, in a clear perspective. That's why we had the clarity going on, right? And by the way, if you had, one more time, problems with someone else, like communication problems or whatever, there's more clarity about this, whether because you will upgrade your standards or because the person wants to communicate with you. But there is more clarity around the person, I feel like, that was ghosting us or not really communicative, at least with us. And there's more clarity coming in with that person. Or it just simply means we're like upgrading our standards to the point where we don't need clarity anymore. So I hope I made clear what you can expect in a year from now. I do really think there will be massive changes around your physical appearance, because with Taurus, in the most positive way, like there is a certain glow up, especially with the peacock also, but you also will shine your feathers, so to speak. You will shine your uniqueness and you will stand out for that. And oh my God, this is so beautiful and so powerful, and a lot of movement, okay? A lot of energy, movement, and yeah. Pile number 3, I loved it. I hope you did too. And we hopefully see us in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi you, and welcome to your reading all about what's going to happen in a year from now for you. So if you're as curious as me, I would say let's go. So we have the Lovers in reverse and the Justice right next to it, and then the Lovers up white. What does this tell me, you guys? In a year from now, you guys will be in a relationship, or whatever struggles you have with your current partner will be balanced out. Or for some of you, you will even get married. There are, for some of you, even new relationships coming into your life, or at least, again, one specific relationship will be balanced out. But for some of you, it can also mean that we will make new working connections with Libra here. Because the Libra can also talk about new contracts, signing like documents and stuff. And sometimes it can also mean like new connections, especially right next to the Lovers in reverse. So, and because it's connected to Libra, but it also always talks about about fairness. So there's definitely more fairness in your love life. Anything that felt unfair in your love life, or maybe relationships in general, if you want, there is more balance. There is more fairness. Anything that felt unfair to you in general, there is more fairness. Justice. Justice speaks for itself. What does it mean? It means justice. So things will be fair, things will be balanced. And one more time, especially if you dealt with certain relationship issues. It can occasionally also talk about friendship, but since we have the Lovers twice here, especially with this marriage imagery, I do really feel like this talks about a romantic relationship, okay? I'm pretty sure, I mean. So in a year from now, I do see you whether being in a relationship or your relationship will get deeper. If you wonder about, oh, I'm going to meet someone, who's that? This can talk about your partner, but it can also talk about yourself. So we will talk about both meanings of the card. If this talks about your partner, actually also when it talks about yourself, it talks about someone who's very extroverted, not shy, a king who has figured out a lot in his life already. So he had to go through stuff already in his life, so he's not quite young. Kings are representing like age and maturity. So this is a mature person who has things figured out, it doesn't have to be extroverted, but at least, not very shy. And, maybe even driven to attain spotlight in a way. But for most of you, I gotta say, this can really also talk about you. So I do really think you are, in a year from now, in a position where you're very, very confident, at least. And for some of you, you maybe wanna even attain, like, I don't know why, but I got this also in pile number 3, that spotlight could be relevant. For some of you, it can be relevant. If spotlight is not for you and you say, no, I don't want to attain spotlight, this at least or minimum talks about your confidence, which makes you very attractive to people. So if you're single right now, this is the answer of why you will attract a specific someone, because you're very, very confident in a year from now. Or this simply means this is the person that you will attract. Again, this can go both ways. Maybe you meet this person while traveling, because we also have the Chariot here. So I really feel like there is some sort of travel and the 8 of spring. So there could be a trip, a significant one coming up. Or just, this person could be from a different country than you. Or, yeah, but there's definitely some traveling in the cards for you from a year from now. So maybe you travel with that person, or this person comes from a different place, or you meet this person while traveling. But traveling is in the cards for you, no matter if this is connected to your love life or not. And I definitely feel like you have a lot of ideas in a year from now. Like with the Seven of Cups, this is when we have a lot of ideas. And also, especially in this deck, it always reminds me of leaving an old heartbreak behind. So if you felt like in any relationship in your past, maybe not seen or appreciated enough, in this relationship, it will be the opposite. We can really let go of any past pain that was hurting us. Usually the Seven of Cups does not talk about that, but in this deck with this heart far away, it's like always reminding me of that. And this cup is like full of gold. So I really feel like this person, whoever you're meeting or you're currently in a relationship and makes like proposes to you, or like it's getting deeper in a way, it's like where you can really fully feel like, oh my God, this is my person, and we can move on from any past pain. Or not just pain in the sense of a person, but I mean, if a person made you feel, for example, less confident, this person makes us feel more confident again. And I do say the past because we also have the Five of Cups here, and the Five of Cups is usually when we have been hurt in a way or disappointed. The Fool talks about a new journey, and the Five of Cups also talks about a new beginning because we let go of our past. Means anyone who was hurting you in the past, in your love life, relationship situations, even your friendships, this is what we can heal and let go of in a year from now, which leads you to this completely new journey, which is so healing, so beautiful for you, and really like leading you to a new, I would almost say, confident personality, as well as a new person. Or if you are in a relationship, you let go of past pain that was basically not serving your current relationship, and therefore a relationship is getting deeper, better, and healthier. So this can go both ways, but the reason why your love life is so much better in a year from now is because you let go of past pain, or you will meet someone who's helping you subconsciously, on a subconscious level, to overcome past pain. It can go both ways, but there is definitely a healthier relationship or a new relationship in a year from now coming into your life because you release past pain. And one thing I also noticed in the cards is that with the Seven of Cups and the Eight of Wands, especially in this deck, can mean that we have multiple options all of a sudden coming along. Means if you've been single for a while, all of a sudden a lot of people are interested in dating you, and you're like, what? All of a sudden, maybe you've been single for a while and all of a sudden you have all these options. Or it's not connected to your love life, and in a year from now your career choices, for example, have changed, and all of a sudden you have multiple choices when it comes to your career, where you will almost be surprised that there is so much going on in your life. And one thing I also want to point out, there's definitely so much going on in your life in a year from now, because we have the Eight of Wands, and this deck specifically talks about multitasking, right? Where you feel like, oh, all of a sudden this area of my life is changing, and this is going on, and there is another person who's interested, and oh no, I'm dating this person, and I actually want to travel there, and I have a new career choice or whatever. It depends on your life, of course, but there are multiple options coming into your life all of a sudden, because we have so many options that we feel like life is sparkling, and we have so many ideas and inspirations and people that are interested in us, and maybe even clients if that's important for you, like things like that. But the cards are also reminding you, especially with the Seven of Cups, that you should always focus on what is really truly meaningful to your soul. That is what the Seven of Cups is reminding us. Your soul loves every emotion, and not just the ones our ego is searching for. I just wanted to add that real quick. And right next we have the Fool, and the Fool is on a journey, right? On a completely new journey. So I see a lot of cards that talk about travel, and I feel like travel can be very, very significant for you guys, or at least an internal journey, especially when it comes to this person and your love life. But I definitely feel like you will experience like really letting go any past disappointments and having a completely new chapter with a beautiful, amazing person on your side, by your side, and it's like so beautiful, because the Fool always represents complete new beginnings, because we allow ourselves to look like a fool sometimes, and while others may judge us, we have this poor, I don't want to say naivety, but the belief, I would almost say, in it will turn out fine anyways, no matter if there's a cliff or not. And so at the end of the row, it really symbolics like in a year from now, you will really be capable of letting any certain past pain go that was holding you back when it comes to your love life. And maybe that's the reason why we have the Four of Pentacles, because the Four of Pentacles, talks about control. And this can be on a subconscious level. This usually stems from your ego. This is like basically telling me that you will feel like very much free with this person. Like there's an amount of freedom that you probably haven't experienced before. And then especially right next, we have the Chariot, which is the beautiful balance between ego and soul. So I feel like this person makes you, basically let go of control. Because when a Chariot would be reversed, it would talk about us trying to still hold on and cling on, like the Four of Pentacles does. But because we right next have the Chariot upright, it means we're letting go of this phase where we feel like we have to control every single outcome, or again, where it's connected to a love life in a way. That's something, by the way, we notice while or after we find a specific person, because all of a sudden some fears maybe come up and you're like, oh my God, I didn't even know that I still have these fears. What? But this person helps you to overcome it. And the Eight of Spring also talks about love letters. So I wouldn't be shocked if someone really is like actually showering you with love, but not in an unhealthy way, not in this like love bombing way, but really like this person makes you feel seen. And it is very, very beautiful for you. So I really feel like, and this person is so healthy for you. And I don't know why I'm constantly feeling like this person could rather live at a distance, because like both of these cards talk about distance. But if you say, no, I'm in a relationship and this is not a distance relationship, it can mean that you guys are maybe traveling together, or you get a new car. The Chariot can also occasionally talk about new mode of transportation. So if this does not talk about travel, that can mean we're just like getting like a new car, or maybe making a small road trip, like things like that. But we have a lot of cards that talk about travel. And it is so powerful, by the way, because we also have the Seven of Spring right next to the Lovers. So anything where you felt like in your past, in your love life, or even in your current relationship, that you had to fight for rather attention, or I have to be the one who has to pursue or do a lot in a relationship. It does not matter what it is, because it's different for all of you. It is a general reading. But anything in your love life where you felt like you had to fight, so to speak, this is now a time where, again, balance is coming in, and you're no longer scared to just be uniquely who you are in that sense. And being, especially if you're single, this is very attractive. This is where you will meet the person, right? Because this is where you will stand out more and you're not scared of showing that. And this is where this bond can happen. By the way, with this beautiful connection here, this also gives me right now the vibe of the bond to your soul and to yourself. So for some, this also talks about definitely confidence and self-love, like real self-love, this unconditional love for yourself. So contrast. Funny. Then we have, okay, I have no idea how to translate that in English, but I will translate it in a second. And then the full moon. So I will translate these cards with Google Translate. I'm so sorry, you guys. So basically, it's the waning moon. So it's a good time if you're gardening and stuff. So the full moon appears 15 days after the new moon, when it is directly opposite the sun. Its energy influences the earth, people, and animals. It can cause nervousness, affect sexual behavior, and trigger natural disasters. It encourages self-reflection. It is recommended not to take any rush actions during the full moon and to start new projects only after careful consideration. So the full moon also always symbolic and the end of a circle. And I feel like that really talks about this old, heartbreaks that we had to go through in our past, where we felt like, oh my gosh, like this person was hurting me, or maybe you have been single for a while because you were avoiding dating. It doesn't matter, but something in your love life is like closing, an old chapter is closing. Then we have the crown chakra. Your crown is contacting you. Oh, you know what? I will also translate that with Google Translate. I'm sorry, you guys. Today I'm just too tired to try to translate it myself. It's like really, I'm sorry. I really am. Your crown is speaking. Perhaps your connection to spirituality, to your spiritual world, and your trust are not in harmony. Send violet light into your crown chakra. So there's definitely more trust that you build up. I feel like even for a person, maybe someone was betraying your trust in the past, doesn't have to be, but you definitely going to trust this person, especially if you do have a distance relationship. You know, sometimes this is very difficult to like trust someone then, but there's a lot of trust there. And not just if this is a distance relationship, but generally in you guys' relationship, even if you're currently in one, there's more trust coming in. And again, a deeper connection because we also trust each other. There's also more trust again in yourself. And yeah, so absolutely. Contrast. A colorful life consists of contrast. Life means the whole spectrum, white and black, and all the colors in between. Are you currently excluding something from your life? Where in life does it need more contrast right now? So I always say our soul is here to experience, and especially our soul loves contrasts and obstacles even and challenges. Our soul is here for all of that because through that we feel the most. And I really hear with this card that whatever, like whether in your current relationship you found your perfect match, or if you're single, you will meet the perfect match. Someone who's the complete, maybe even opposite of you, but is a perfect match for you. And you will make each other's, I would almost say, flaws to each other's strength. This is like poor soulmate connection is what I'm hearing here. Wow, you guys, your next relationship or even your current one, again, it depends on if you're already in a relationship or not, is so powerful. Like this is a real soulmate relationship, I feel like. So yeah, in a year from now, you can expect that. That is crazy. And what I see with the moon cards, do you see the half of this moon? I really feel like the half of the next, like basically the next half year is already significant when it comes to this person. So maybe this is just an example. In a half year from now, your partner is proposing, and then a half year later, you're marrying. Or in a half year from now, you meet a specific person because you're traveling, and then you get into a relationship a half year later, right? That's what I mean. Like the half of this year that we're talking about now, like basically your next half year, is already very, very significant. And I feel like it's connected to this person. The owl. So cute. Ooh, Capricorn. A lot of orange going on. Like that's the... I always want to say solar plexus chakra, but it's not the solar plexus. It's the sacral chakra. So we listen also a lot to our gut feelings, and we can really, like, we actually react more to life than forcing outcomes. This is, again, like letting go of ego, right? So I think there's a lot of also transformation when it comes to, because we also have the contrast card, right? And for me, this also symbolics like ego and soul. So I feel like you will also have a bigger bond to yourself and to your gut feeling because you have a stronger bond to your soul. Because I feel like you will have a strong bond with your soul, which could lead to this beautiful connection, although I think this will happen anyways. I think this is very fated since we have like this sort of soulmate connection, I feel like. Basically with the owl, I feel like you're a person, by the way, who sees the positive also in darker times. Maybe you also already see that whether your ex or a past relationship that was not good for you, or that you've been single for a while, was not wrong and not bad because you have a strong connection to your soul. And your soul's truth is your soul also loves challenges and obstacles that we blame as wrong, but our soul does not. Our soul is not dividing life into wrong and right. Meanwhile, we say, oh, being single is wrong, or having experiences in the sense of not having the best relationship is wrong. No, for your soul wants to experience it. for body and brain, like, or I would say the pawn or the game character for our soul, right? It's not beautiful, of course, but for a soul it is, because the soul is here to experience feelings. And the strongest feelings we feel through contrasts in life and challenges in life and obstacles, and especially opposites. And that's why we sometimes attract, for example, a very chaotic relationship, not attract, create, I almost say, a very chaotic relationship, and then later a dream relationship, so that we experience both feelings, you know what I mean? And naturally through this experience we grow and learn, and we have the whole package of feelings, and not just like, oh, this is my dream relationship. But anyways, what I try to explain is that you're someone who's very connected with your soul, actually, and you can also see the higher wisdom. You're someone who's very wise, and you always see the best in the worst times. You're very, very capable of that, my love. I don't know if you've noticed that or not. And this is your superpower, because you are very reflective, pile number 4. And yeah, that's definitely something I see. And then also with Capricorn, Capricorn is when we're very, very determined. And it also talks about success too. And we already had this like King of Wands energy, right? So it can mean that you, in a year from now, like, first of all, in a year from now, I definitely see you growing a lot internally. This is like really what Capricorn gives me, because Capricorns are very, 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 they never stop. You know what I mean? When it comes to growth and learning and developing. I mean, we all don't stop, don't get me wrong, but Capricorns are almost searching for that, I feel like. They love to, you know, to achieve things. One thing I want to say with Capricorn, you're someone who's very concentrated, has a lot of determination, and again, is the sign for success. So I think a side note from like all this love reading that we have going on here right now, there is more success coming in a year from now. Although this love, this partner is so significant for you, or this deepening of the connection, that I feel like this is more relevant for some reason. Again, this could be a marriage, that the cards are constantly keep repeating, you let go of past pain, you will dive into this beautiful relationship. This will be so healing for you, that the success is like almost a side note from spirit. But we do have the King of Wands and Capricorn, and both of these cards can indicate very, very like almost big success. And by the way, just for some of you, if you wanted to attain spotlight, this is really just for those it's relevant, because Capricorn and King of Wands can indicate that, if that's relevant for you, of course, to attain spotlight, that we attain spotlight. So that we may had some goals that felt like out of reach. And in a year from now, I definitely see you being successful in a way. And for some of you, that really talks about fame. This is what I try to explain. But if this is not important for you and you are very settled in your career, this means you will get more attention in your current job, no matter what you currently work at or work in. Even if you work in a company, that means you get more attention from your boss and also more respect. Ooh, we have the one. This talks about new beginnings, my love. This is so beautiful. It also talks about a gift. Oh. So I feel like this person will feel like the best gift from life. Like you will feel like this was, it was fated. This person will also see you as the best gift that they could have, you know, gotten from life. So I really feel like, do you say have gotten? It feels weird somehow, but basically they definitely feel like you're the best that could have happened to them, and vice versa, which is so beautiful. Oh my god, this is also connected to the heart energy because of the green. So it's so beautiful. And perception. You have a lot of orange and red going on. This talks about the root chakra and the solar plexus, and orange talks about the sacral chakra. So there's a lot of chakra awakenings. I think chakra awakenings actually happen through experience. I'm not a fan of like you need to sit there and meditate and open your chakras, but if that's something you are interested in or feel like you want to do, then I would focus on these chakras because the heart chakra is naturally opening for you. This is not something you have to force. I feel like the heart chakra is opening because of this person, but I also feel like these other chakras are opening because of your experience. But you're, I feel like, a solar plexus. I always say solar plexus. I mean sacral, who's living life through their sacral. What I mean by that is I feel like you have a deep, deep, deep connection with your soul. So you react more than forcing outcomes by ego. That's what I try to explain. Or maybe that's something you learn in a year from now, although I actually think you already are that kind of person. But in a year from now, you definitely create even a deeper bond with your soul to the point where you will let go of fears. And maybe to a certain extent, this new person could trigger some old fears when it comes to dating or your current partner. Again, this depends on if you are already in a relationship or not. But then you will notice, oh no, with this person it's different, and you can let it completely go. And with perception, I do really feel like this gives me sometimes hangman vibe when we see things from a different perspective all of a sudden. So you will maybe look back at your past and be like, oh, that's why it had to happen, or that's why I was single for so long, or that's why I had to experience this like other relationship in the past. You know what I mean? Like things like that. Also with success, by the way, this can also indicate that we see things from a different perspective. Oh, of course we get the sun. Maybe you have felt drawn to pile number 3 as well. Because pile number 3 had also a lot of sun energy and also the fame. So maybe that's relevant for you. Like maybe you felt drawn to both piles. Okay, so Virgos can be perfectionists sometimes. So one thing I feel like you will, or like what's happening, is that you will focus on quality instead of quantity. So if you're currently a person who's like quantity before quality, if you know what I mean, when it comes to your projects or to something else, maybe even dating, maybe in your past you were like, I need to date this person and that person until I finally meet the one, and all of a sudden you raise your standard and it's like, no, like I date this person because whatever, like this person's matching my standards, whatever it is. But definitely Virgo talks about quality before quantity because they're very detail oriented. And they're also, again, perfectionists sometimes. So one thing I feel like you will learn to handle better is like, one more time, letting a little bit go of control and maybe even perfectionism in a way, because maybe that's holding you back a bit when it comes to your career. Because also with Chariot can deal with control issues if it would have been in reverse, and we have that with the 4 of Pentacles. So maybe you are a little bit of a control-y type of person or perfectionist, so you will not overworry is not a overthink. I mean, about, like, oh, is this perfect enough and blah, blah, blah. But you still will focus on detail. You know what I mean? And quality. So I do really think that is something I feel like for your career mainly. And the sun represents your soul and your radiance. So I really feel like, especially also with the solar plexus and the sacral that we had going on, the chakras, I think you will have, one more time, you will fulfill your soul's purpose. You will find your soulmate if you're single. I will say that straight out here, because like there's a lot of soulmate connection that we had going on here, like soul, radiance, vitality. In a year from now, already in a half year from now, I think a lot of things are shifting for you. And then with the 11th house, we have friends, and like maybe you will find new friends or teammates. This can also talk about if you need a team for something in your job, for example. This can talk about finding the right team or connections, people that are supporting us. It can also mean that we are healing. By the way, oh my God, that I didn't mention that. Virgo is designed for healing, and I just talked about healing past wounds. Oh my gosh. So you're definitely going to heal like anything that was like still triggering you. And again, you will feel this deep connection with your soul and therefore attract the right people, not just romantic. I do really think also career-wise and friendship-wise. I think even not just but like friends that are really like also soulmates, if you know what I mean. So soulmate friendships. The 11th house also talks about dreams, hopes, and all of that. So I think you will also have specific dreams that are significant. Maybe you dream about this person right before you meet them, or before they propose, again. If you wanted to do something online, like an online business, there's more, this can, by the way, also talk about, like, if you wanted to build up fans, like a fan base, because we had, like, the cards talking about success and fame, and like if that's relevant for you again and you wanted that. I feel like there is a lot of healing also when it comes to friendship. I just hear this random sentence if it's significant for some of you. There's a general reading, keep this in mind. Not everything can resonate, but if you wondered about friendships, there's more healing around that as well. And it also talks about hope, by the way. So if you had a lack of hope in a way, there's more hope coming in. In a year from now, you don't even need a lot of hope, because I feel like you feel like on top, especially because of this person. I feel like this is so significant because it's such a beautiful relationship. You feel just so good. And again, the sun also talks about confidence, and we had so many cards, especially with the King of Wands, to talk about confidence. So you will feel confident, my love, in a year from now. That's something I can definitely tell you. And yeah, and one more time, but basically technology. What I wanted to say, if you wanted to create something online in general, like an online course or something online, this is also something I definitely have in the cards here for you guys. So yeah, but for some reason I hear like fans or followers, people that are interested in what you do. Because you attract so many people, I feel like you're very attractive in a year from now, in the sense of not just physically, but I also feel like energetically. So that was it with your pile number, with your message. Pile number 4. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope we see you in the next one. Bye bye.